a thoughtful goodbye, on growing old and letting go gracefully. Every now and then, you'll hear someone in their later years say something like, "All I really want now is to enjoy a peaceful retirement." It's one of those phrases we nod along with, maybe even dream of ourselves. It's become almost a cultural mantra, a beautiful wish, a vision of what we think growing old should be like. Imagine this for a moment: sunlight gently pouring through your kitchen window in the early morning hours, casting a warm glow across the floor. You're sitting in a cozy rocking chair by the window, perhaps wrapped in a well-worn but beloved blanket. Beside you, a cup of warm chamomile tea sends little swirls of steam into the air. Outside, flowers in the garden sway gently in the breeze. Lilacs, lavender, maybe some tall sunflowers that the birds like to visit. From the next room, you can hear the distant sound of laughter, your grown grandchildren visiting for the weekend, or maybe some old friends over for coffee. And you're just there, content, at peace, untroubled by anything at all. It's a picture-perfect moment, the kind we see in greeting cards or retirement brochures, a vision that many people quietly hold in their hearts as the goal for their later years, a tranquil, gentle end to a long and busy life. But have you ever stopped to really ask yourself, is that how it truly works out? Is that dream of serenity in old age really as beautiful and comforting as we make it out to be? Not too long ago, I had a long and rather unexpected conversation with an older friend. Let's call him Walter. Walter is one of those wise, unfiltered types who has lived a full life and doesn't see much point in sugarcoating things. We were sitting on a park bench in Portland, Oregon, watching squirrels dart around the trees, and we got to talking about what it means to age gracefully. When I brought up the idea of enjoying your golden years, he chuckled a little and said something I haven't been able to forget since. He said, "You know what the biggest blessing in old age is? Honestly, dropping dead. Just like that. No hesitation." I admit, I was a bit taken aback. I mean, how do you respond to something like that? It sounded harsh, maybe even a little disrespectful at first. But Walter, being Walter, didn't skip a beat. He went on to explain, and what he said next made a whole lot of sense, even if it wasn't comfortable to hear. "Think about it," he said. "We all talk about wanting peace and quiet in old age. But how peaceful is it really when your body starts breaking down, when every step you take reminds you that you're not who you used to be, when the people around you are slowly disappearing one by one, and when pain becomes your constant companion?" He wasn't being negative for the sake of it. He was being honest. Brutally honest, yes, but deeply insightful. As we age, our bodies inevitably start to slow down. The things we once did without thinking, walking to the store, gardening all afternoon, climbing a flight of stairs, can suddenly feel like monumental tasks. And worse, chronic illnesses or unexpected diagnoses become more common. Diabetes, arthritis, strokes, cancer. Some people lose mobility, others lose memory. Some lose both. And amidst all that, there's a silent kind of suffering. The fear of becoming a burden. The fear of lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to tubes and machines, waiting for something to change that probably never will. So when Walter said dropping dead, he wasn't referring to a tragic or premature death. He meant a swift, clean, peaceful end, a natural departure. A way of leaving the world without months or years of suffering, without dragging yourself or your family through the endless cycle of hospitals, treatments, and hopeless hopes. A kind of quiet goodbye. Because the truth is, we all leave this life eventually. No matter how rich, how careful, how loved, we all reach the same destination. Death isn't the exception, it's the rule. And perhaps, rather than fearing it or trying to bargain with it, we should begin to understand it as part of life's design. Without death, how would we ever appreciate life? Would we really live with the same urgency, the same tenderness, if we thought we had forever? And yet, most of us spend a lifetime running from this thought. We pour ourselves into work, savings, building homes, raising families, trying to leave something behind. We chase success, security, sometimes even legacy. Maybe we hope people will remember us or at least appreciate what we tried to do. But when all is said and done, all of it, yes, all of it, fades. Our achievements, our worries, our hopes, they don't come with us. They get boxed up, donated, or forgotten. That's just how time works. So what if instead of clinging to results, we focused more on the process, the act of living itself? If we stop obsessing over what we leave behind and start really savoring the now? If we can do that, Walter believes, then we won't fear growing old so much. Because then our old age isn't about what we've lost, but about how we choose to carry ourselves through the final stretch. Sometimes, growing old isn't as glorious as we hoped. Longevity isn't always a gift. When your body no longer serves you, when joy is replaced with discomfort, and when each day feels more like endurance than experience, those are the moments that test your spirit. So what do elders truly long for at that stage? Good health, certainly. The ability to live independently. Time with loved ones. Maybe a spontaneous road trip to Maine, or a walk through Central Park when the cherry blossoms bloom. A good movie with a bowl of popcorn and someone's hand to hold. These are common wishes. But the quiet truth, the ultimate wish for many is simply to die peacefully. No fear, no pain, no burden, just to go gently. And while we may not get to choose how we live every moment, we can hope to choose how we leave. And for some, a sudden, painless death, a silent falling away like an autumn leaf, is the most dignified end of all. Walter once said, the best exit is one that leaves no mess, no hospital bills, no long goodbyes, no desperate prayers for relief. A mature apple doesn't cling to the tree forever. It falls when it's ready. There are far too many stories of people spending their final years bedridden, battling one illness after another, their quality of life dwindling to the point where even speaking becomes effort. It's not just sad, it's cruel. They feel trapped, drained of dignity, and worst of all, unable to enjoy even the smallest pleasures of life. It's in those moments that many begin to understand Walter's view. To go swiftly, without drama, without fear, that's not a tragedy. That's mercy. That's grace. When we begin to accept the reality of death, not fear it, not romanticize it, just face it with clear eyes, we start to live differently. We stop wasting time. We start to pay attention. Whether you're young and still charging forward or older and beginning to slow down, the most important thing is to live truthfully, without pretense, with courage and gratitude. That way, when your final chapter arrives, you can greet it not as an enemy, but as an old friend. A closing of the book, not a tearing of the pages. Because life is not a race, and neither is death. It's a journey filled with moments, some beautiful, some painful, but all worthy of presence. Many people fall into the habit of delaying life. I'll travel once I retire. I'll rest after the kids are grown. I'll finally relax when things are stable. And then, suddenly, it's too late. The time you thought you had is gone. We must remember, life is always happening. It doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. Happiness isn't something we plan for, it's something we notice. Right now, the morning light on your pillow, the sound of birds outside, the smell of your neighbor baking bread, a grandchild's drawing stuck to your refrigerator. These aren't filler moments. These are it. This is life. We've become too accustomed to measuring life in numbers, a 401k, a square footage, a medical chart. We've shrunk our days into spreadsheets. But life is not a set of goals. It's a set of sensations, of experiences, of laughter and tears, and, yes, goodbyes. Old age is not a punishment. It's another chapter. One that demands us to slow down, reflect, and connect not just with others, but with ourselves. Loneliness in old age is real. In cities like Chicago or Dallas, many seniors find themselves alone after a spouse passes or children move away. But loneliness isn't just about physical isolation, it's about emotional distance. It's about feeling forgotten, or feeling that your story no longer matters. And yet, we can reclaim that space. We can choose to reconnect, not just with others, but with ourselves. Read the book you always meant to. Paint, even if it's messy. Sing, even if it's off-key. Bake something that reminds you of your childhood. Find joy in being alive, in being present. The fear of death, in the end, is often just the fear of not having lived enough. But if we begin to truly live, honestly, humbly, presently, then death loses its teeth. And we can go, as Walter said, like a whisper in the wind, peaceful, complete, and unafraid,